Hello everyone. No one will argue that mixed martial arts is a tough hobby for tough people. Really, you have to be incredibly brutal if you want to go into a cage where you can get hit in the head at any moment. But if you think that MMA fighters are the most serious people in the world and never smile, but instead only frown waiting for the next rival, then by the end of this video you'll see it's actually quite the opposite. We picked the most amusing moments from the weighing of the fighters. They'll definitely convince you that even the coolest and most formidable champions can have a great sense of humor. Let's get it on. Flowers. First of all, the weigh-in process before the fight is a show, otherwise it wouldn't get so much attention. And if there is attention, there is a real show, which some fighters are so fond of. For example, Sean O'Connell, known for his sense of humor and, let's say, special approach to the enemy. And we're not talking about the behavior on the ring, but about what Sean sometimes does during weigh-ins. Who could even think of bringing his rival flowers? Sean could. He put them in his bag, brought them in, and then handed the bouquet with such a happy face that no one would ever think of getting offended by this. At least Ilia Latifi didn't get mad and, in return, gave Sean a box of chocolates. Yes, these are brutal masters of mixed martial arts. With sweets and flowers. By the way, their meeting ended in the victory of Ilia, but we hope that Sean wasn't very upset. In the end, he did have some comforting sweets. Wig. When your opponent has such recognizable hair as Josh Koscheck does, it's just impossible to leave it without attention. We of course won't joke and say it looks like instant noodles or something like that, but Mike Pierce could not resist. He let his imagination free and put on a fancy curly wig for the weigh-in. Look, they're like twins now. One a little bit taller and the other with artificial hair, and both are not very friendly. Oh, don't nag. Twins can be different, you know, and it's an incredibly great picture. Mortal Kombat. We guessed you need to have an amazing control over your body in order to climb the stairs with your pants down that easily. Or you just have to be John Dodson, who looks so happy, as if preparing not for a fight but to act in some comedy film. But don't think that his opponent, Brazilian fighter John Lineker, is terribly serious as well and isn't going to support Dodson's fun. He just doesn't understand the language. That's why he looks so tense. It's okay. Look, this is Mortal Kombat now.
Round 1. Fight!
Sean O'Connell. Sean O'Connell here again, friends. He's just so fun that we couldn't pick only one of his videos. So here's a little compilation of the coolest moments from this guy's weigh-ins. Because you need to be very cool to play rock, paper, scissors with your opponent and win without waiting for his reaction. Or take a sudden selfie, or drink some protein together. But most of all, we like this moment. Boop. Oh, you see, it was actually very cute. Hulk. Who comes to mind when someone's talking about a pile of muscle and incredible strength? Probably the Hulk, right? Perhaps he would have made a great MMA fighter. Imagine what a show it would have been. Almost like Ragnarok, or maybe even cooler. It seems Ion Cutelaba had the same thought when he decided to paint himself like the Marvel hero just before the weigh-in. The first few seconds it seems that nothing unusual's happening. Well, the palms are green, but you never know, maybe. Maybe Ion just painted a bench in the backyard, accidentally got dirty and didn't have time to wash his hands or something. But then the fighter takes off his sneakers, socks that were once white, and it becomes clear that Ion's legs are also green. Okay, maybe he painted the bench barefoot, but here Ion takes off the shirt and it turns out that he's all covered with green paint, even his hair and his lips. Who would have thought that painting benches is so dangerous, huh? But okay. In fact, Ion turned out to be an excellent Hulk. He even tore his t-shirt just like the comic book hero. Girls and dancing. Japanese fighter Teruto Ishihara has a really great sense of humor. He likes parties, insane hairstyles, and constantly pulls off some crazy nonsense. Just check out his Instagram account and you'll see we're not joking. Yes, it's real. Also, Teruto adores beautiful girls and never misses the opportunity to say hello to them, even during weigh-ins. Why not? There are some lovely ladies standing there. It's even strange that he's the only one who got the idea of greeting them. After all, you just need to wave the palm of your hand, nod a couple of times, and the girls are already smiling happily. Just wave, Taruto. Well, the dance will do, especially since the girl in the background is clearly pleased with such attention. Mask. As you may have noticed, in addition to their powerful combat skills, these guys also developed a good sense of humor. At first glance, Leonardo Augusto Lelico is a tough fighter, fond of knocking out his opponents. But at this weigh-in, which was held together with his opponent Antonio Carlos Jr., Augusto Lelico arranged a real carnival. Yes, on the one hand, the mask from the movie Scream looks too funny and even a bit childish, especially if you saw Scary Movie. But if you think about it, for some people this object really symbolizes something terrible. Probably Augusto Lelico decided to scare his opponent before the fight, because you can use psychological techniques even in MMA. Handshake versus hug. By the way, MMA is not just for men. Women are also welcome here, and they are no less strong and brutal than the male fighters, although not all the ladies are as tough as it might seem at first glance. For example, during this weigh-in, Beck Rawlings and Jessica Rose Clark couldn't immediately greet each other with some gesture. The awkward moment lasted until Rawlings decided to hug her rival. So, this strange not handshake turned into a cute hug. Dance battle. And here's another example, proving that MMA is not only about tough fights with powerful punches and raging aggression, but also about funny moments that make you smile. For example, Paige Van Zandt, instead of choosing a pose for a photo, decided to arrange a dance battle with her rival. But Michelle Waterson wasn't confused at all, and also began to move in the rhythm of the dance. It's even difficult to imagine that soon these girls will punch each other, showing off their skills. By the way, after completing the dance battle, Paige and Michelle did pose for the picture, but frankly, after their presentation, it didn't look so intimidating anymore. Strange moves. We're not exactly sure why David Allen behaves this way, but it looks pretty funny. First, he poses like a typical MMA fighter, but then something happens. Just look, David swings back and forth and looks at his opponent, then gets back, but casts a sidelong glance at his rival. After that, Allen seems to remember that he has to be serious, but he still can't resist and smiles. Interestingly, all this time while David couldn't decide how to pose, his rival Luis Ortiz stood almost motionless. Catwalk scales. Demetrius Johnson is the current flyweight champion of the UFC and the owner of the longest series of title defenses. However, even with these serious achievements, he remains a positive and entertaining person. Therefore, during this weigh-in, when all the cameras were aimed at him, Johnson decided not to miss the opportunity to pose in front of the photographers. In a few seconds, he managed to do almost 10 different poses. By the way, not every model can show such skills. Tough choice. And if Demetrius Johnson knows exactly how to pose for a great picture, then this guy didn't learn to do it right. Moreover, fighter George St. Pierre forgot how to take photos at all. Of course, the first pose turned out to be just excellent. Fit body, tense muscles, a look upward, and so on. But the next attempts at posing ended only with the smile and a laugh by George himself. Look at this positive fighter. It's even hard to imagine that he's capable of punching someone. But he has bonus. Well, now we'd like to show you some other funny moments from the world of MMA, which will definitely make you smile. For example, look at John Jones and Anthony Johnson, who joked about Dana White, the current UFC president. The fighters pretended to attack each other at the official opening ceremony, and when Dana rushed to separate them, John and Anthony started just to laugh. Yeah, this is MMA humor. Ouch! Oh, it looks like that really hurt. Oddly enough, having knocked out his opponent, the fighter almost did the same thing to himself, falling from the edge of the cage. By the way, a lot of interesting and funny things happen during training. Pay attention to the background. This punch was so strong that the opponent literally flew through the wall, like a cartoon character. Do you think this can be considered as a knockout? And here's an example of how upset a fighter can be after a defeat. Andrew Whitney lost to his opponent and was so upset that he didn't even notice the girl behind him. Well, as you can see, it's better not to come close to an MMA fighter if he's not in the mood. So would you like to practice MMA, friends? Or would you choose other martial arts? Tell us in the comments below and don't forget to hit the like button. Amazing gadgets, upcoming technologies, incredible inventions, and other cool stuff related to high tech on Tech Zone. Subscribe, you won't regret it. The link is on the screen and in the description. Thanks for watching. Please like and share the video in social networks, and we'll be right back to you as fast as we can.